It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. The wait for Fight Forever is finally at its end, and I'm here to give you a deep dive into All Elite Wrestling's first outing in the home video game market. Is it the dream match we all hoped for? I'm going to break everything down section by section, and timestamps for specific things you're curious about will all be in the description. With that said, let's hit the intro.
Settle! Yeah.
Let's start with the meat and main focus of this game, the gameplay.
Making his way to the ring,
If you're ancient like I am, you were around for the wrestling games that drove us all crazy as kids, such as No Mercy, Day of Reckoning, and even a little Fire Pro Wrestling. This feels like you took those games, threw them in a blender, and ran the juices from it through Kenny Omega's luscious locks. From the moment the game was announced, Kenny has stated his love for those old grapplers and how he wanted his game to feel and play just like those aforementioned games. And I gotta say, they hit that mark pretty well. Everything from the aesthetics down to the controls, it hits all of those notes and then some. First off, I have to start with the entrances. Initially, I wasn't looking forward to not having full-on entrances. But after my first match, I found myself having a lot of fun with how it's set up. You can actually change the camera angles as well as control the pyro during every entrance. I feel like it gives you just enough time to take it all in before it moves on to the action. There's tons of options too for what's used as pyro, but we'll get into that later. Let's get into the actual gameplay. Locking up consists of hitting the grapple button. Simply tapping it will do a weak grapple, in which you can use an attack button in any direction. Each attack type also has its own set of moves. There's strikes, kicks, and grapple moves. Holding the grapple button will then start a strong grapple, which works the same as before, but now opening you up to a whole different set of more devastating maneuvers. If you feel like pulling off a test of strength, you can hold L1 to see if your opponent is up for the challenge. As you beat and bash each other, you'll notice your meter at the bottom of the screen increasing in size and changing colors. Once you have reached maximum capacity, you will see that you have a signature ready. With this, you're now able to use the D-pad to pull off your wrestler's signature moves. Most wrestlers have multiple signatures and different ways to hit them. For example, Kenny Omega's V-trigger can be hit from standing position, the corner, and running. Once you're ready to go for the big one, move the right stick in any direction to initiate a taunt. This now gets you your finisher. If the opponent stands up while groggy, you can simply get close and move the right stick again. Sometimes they recover from their stun, making you grapple them before hitting the right stick to pull off your finishing maneuver. Be quick though, you have a set amount of time to do as much damage as possible before you have to build back up again. If you find yourself on the receiving end, you might want to learn how to reverse incoming attacks. This works in different ways. You can hold R1 on PlayStation or the right bumper on Xbox, but poke your chest out to absorb any incoming damage. If you anticipate a grappling move, you can hit L1 on PlayStation or the left bumper on Xbox. If timed right, you'll avoid getting caught up. You can also reverse after a lockup has happened by reversing it right before the move is started. This will take some getting used to, as the game doesn't have anything popping up to tell you when to reverse. This makes you play the game more and learn through filling it out. The reason I'm explaining all this is for people who may not be familiar with how those golden classic games played. The game can be as easy as you want it to be. You can try to button mash your way to victory and try to pull off random grapples. But if you find yourself wanting to really get technical, you have the ability to link up some pretty awesome sequences, creating the same high-intensity moments you'd see from AEW television. This has me really excited for high competitive gameplay. If you get two people that really know what they're doing, they can create some magic. You have the ability to counter just about everything, and there's a fair amount of chain wrestling you can do as well. The roster contains 47 wrestlers, not counting the ones you can unlock or the ones you can purchase right away in the game shop, nor the pre-order DLC of Matt Hardy, which brings the total number closer to 51 or so and growing as more get added. I'll go ahead and say right now, there are some glaring omissions. People like Evil Uno, Serpentico, Swerve Strickland, The Acclaimed. You can spend a long time naming wrestler after wrestler that should be included just because the AEW roster is so stacked. There's still a great amount of awesome wrestlers, and I'm glad that this initial set made it in. People you don't get to see on TV too often, like Abaddon, get a chance to be featured here. Fans that may not be as familiar with them as I am may see them and think how awesome they look and make new fans out of them. I can see this game being a launching pad for some of the lesser known slept on talent getting more eyes upon them. THQ have promised to deliver some of our favorites, and they already have a season pass lined up for release through the oncoming months. Max Caster actually confirmed not long ago, as I'm recording this, that they're already working on being added in. It also still has Cody Rhodes, which is something Kenny and the developers have said they wanted to do, because he was such a big part of the start of the company. So it's cool to still see him represented here. Each wrestler has their own unique feel. With their animations all being done by hand, you can pick out each wrestler's quirks and little details in how they move, taunt, and how they pull off their signature moves. Orange Cassidy can even put his hands in his pockets, putting him into his signature sloth style. The details don't stop there though. During my time with the game, I noticed that each wrestler had their own voices in the game, reacting to hits, submissions, some of them even had voiced taunts. They even made sure to include Jericho yelling, "Ask him!" While I'm not sure if it's every wrestler's original voice, they sound very close for 90% of them. Listen to Thunder Rosa getting vocal as well as Yuka, and tell me it isn't them. With all these wrestlers and movesets, you're going to need something to do with them, right? Let's get into the features and modes. There's various modes to throw down in, whether it's your standard one-on-one affair, tag team matches, 3-ways, and 4-ways if you're feeling frisky. The Casino Battle Royale, Falls Count Anywhere, Ladder Match, and that's not all. Two of the wildest matches in this game at launch have to be the Lights Out match and the Exploding Barbed Wire Death match, all of which can be played online via ranked, casual, and private matches. Lights Out is a no-rules, all-thrills type of affair. The ring is surrounded by weapons. By the way, there are a lot of weapons in this game. I don't even want to show them all to you just so you can play the game and experience them for yourself for the first time, because some of them are pretty damn silly and some of them are pretty vicious. This match will definitely be a go-to for friends looking to settle their blood feuds from the comfort of their own couch. The Exploding Barbed Wire Death match is as crazy as it sounds. You and your opponent, surrounded by electrified barbed wire, riddled with explosives and barbed wire boards in the corners. On top of that, you have a timer that counts down to a massive explosion that will put you both down. That is until you get up and keep slugging it out. There's also a small selection of mini-games available from the start, but more can be unlocked. Some of these include things like a wacky home run derby, a Mario Party-esque one where you are trying to knock other wrestlers off the platform, a rhythm and memory game called Penta Says, and more. Then there's the career mode, dubbed Road to Elite.
Cause I'm back up in career mode. Got me looking at the money like a weirdo. Cause I'm back up in career mode.
The Road to Elite mode has you living out a year in the life of an AEW wrestler from the beginning, where you will have 4 turns in between Dynamite episodes to do things like sightseeing, working out, dining out, meet and greets, mini games, and more. Be careful with your choices though. Working out too hard can get you injured before a match, taking away precious energy, requiring you to visit the hospital and spending money to recover faster. There's different storylines that go on, which I won't spoil here, letting you make choices to choose your outcome as well as random encounters during the game. You can play through it with any established AEW wrestler or your own creation. This is also what you will play to earn upgrades and skills for your created wrestler. I don't want to show too much, as the best way to experience this mode is just to play it and take it as it comes. Fight Forever lets you do a few fun things with customization, but there will be a warning with what I'm about to say. The Creation Suite, most notably the Create a Wrestler feature, is admittedly bare bones. You don't have much control over trying to make some of your favorites that didn't make the game. There's still some fun things you can do with it, but don't go into this game thinking you'll have all the creative possibilities at your disposal. The options for faces, hair, and clothing are very few, but I will say this seems like something that will be updated. The developers have made it pretty clear that they plan to update this title rather than release a new one yearly, so things like new masks, clothes, gear, and other options can always be added. Creating a wrestler still has most of the features you've come to expect, like creating a moveset, and there are a lot of cool moves in this game. Each movement is actually hand animated, just like the old days, no motion capture here. So I know creating all of these animations for every single wrestler is what had to eat up a lot of their free time, besides fine-tuning the gameplay. You can also put together your entrance. This includes options such as your entrance theme, which includes the massive list of songs in the game's jukebox. You also get to choose what type of fireworks and effects you'll have control of. This section has a ton of fun things you can use to make your character stand out. There's even a ton of cool names already included in the game, including some of the people missing that I mentioned earlier, such as Serpentico, and even names of a few New Japan wrestlers. Here's my poor attempt at creating Will Ospreay.
Making his way to the ring, Will Ospreay.
There are options for modifying existing wrestlers' attires, but so far the only thing I've been able to do is slap a shirt on them. This is also something they will hopefully improve on. Being able to adjust the colors of gear, even if only a little bit, would add a lot of extra detail when trying to be current with your favorite wrestlers' looks. You can, however, adjust any wrestler's entrance and change their pyro and effect options, or even swap entrances completely. You can also edit their moveset to suit your liking. You have the option of making your own team, complete with a tag team entrance, and moveset complete with tandem finishers. There's also Create an Arena, and while this has a lot of fun options, it could still be expanded on, and I believe it will be. You can do things like change the corner turnbuckle types to be more like a Japanese ring, change the look of the mat, the type of stage, as well as the lighting for it. Decorations you can place at the side, and different options for barricade and ring colors. They have a nice foundation laid here. If they can improve and add more options to each creation area, it will just make the game even better over time. If you're already an All Elite Wrestling fan, you know the amount of awesome themes they have, with most of their original work being crafted by Mikey Ruckus. I would be remiss to not mention how many awesome themes and tracks they included for this game. Whether it's existing stuff they previously used for pay-per-views and other events, or all original tunes, there's so freaking many to choose from. Not only is your wrestler's theme, but you can also go in the jukebox options and pop over any song you want to be added to the playlist of music played during gameplay. Austin Gunn, Righteous Ridge, Swerve and Montezzi, Mega Ran, and so many others also get included on the soundtrack with good songs to vibe to as you ponder your next move. Also, yes, it still has Kingdom. One really fun thing I wanted to mention about the music, Mikey Ruckus also included the 8-bit versions of themes they've previously released elsewhere. As I mentioned earlier in the review, the sounds made during the game are also well done, like the aforementioned grunts and screams being unique to each wrestler, the voice taunts, even submission lines. The sound of connecting hits also sounds really well done. Each move and strike has such an impactful sound that just adds to some of the brutal moments you see during the gameplay. So with that said, I think it's time that I leave you with some final thoughts. While I do not do a number rating currently for my reviews, I can tell you if this game is worth picking up or not. I can say that not only as an AEW fan, but a wrestling games fan, that I feel like this is worth the time and investment. I've always been a gameplay over graphics type of guy, and while I find the graphics to be exactly what they were going for with the arcade and exaggerated looks, it might not be for you if you're looking for something more realistic or simulation based. The customization being bare may also be a red flag for some of you, but from what I've seen, they plan to offer a battle pass type of service where new skins and items and other options will be added over time. But if having a wide array of customization from day one is going to make or break the game for you, you might want to give the game a try first before committing fully. If they added simple things like more officially licensed Shop AEW shirts to use, or some logos and patterns for gear, even shapes to make your own logos, small things like that would go a long way, and I believe if this game does good, they will continually add things like that as time goes on. If you're more focused on the gameplay, then I can safely say this game is for you. The combat and how deep it can get, while remaining relatively simple, really makes me think this game will have a fun and competitive online community. I can even see tournaments being done around the major AEW pay-per-views, maybe at their FanFest events. Even just against the AI on Elite difficulty, I have had some crazy exchanges and moments. I can only imagine two pros squaring off. After 26 hours of gameplay and unlocking 32 out of 39 trophies and completing the Road to Elite mode, as well as buying everything currently available in the game shop, I can safely say that I highly recommend this game if you're looking to scratch that nostalgic itch for wrestling games of the past while bringing in modern elements. The fast and fun gameplay mixed with the deep fighting system will have me coming back over and over again and sticking around for the ride of updates and new additions. I even heard about a rumored leak featuring a Stadium Stampede match being added, which sounds absolutely insane if what I read is true. This will be something really fun to play with friends, and I plan to play online if any of you feel froggy enough to jump. I may even stream it. That wraps it up for me. I appreciate you taking the time to check out this review. It means a lot to me. I also have to give a massive shout out to Jen from THQ Nordic for providing me with this review copy to cover for you all, which made this review possible to have on launch day. If you enjoyed it, drop a like or comment and give me a shout. I'll be replying to you guys with answers to any questions you have that may not be covered here. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the ring.